Ask AJ. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Ask AJ. I'm AJ Hanna from SYKES, and I'm looking forward to the conversation we're getting ready to have today. One of the great things in the time that I've been working for SYKES, a parent company, is get an opportunity to collaborate with some of my other colleagues in other parts of the organization. And one of the best so far has been with the gentleman that you see on screen, Bo Young. Bo leads our Insight Analytics team, and he's a data guy. And, you know, many of you who've watched past episodes know that I place a great deal of importance on data. So it's been fun getting to work on some projects with Bo, get to know him a little bit. But Bo, let's start by just, number one, thanks for being with me. And number two, how does Bo Young make a career out of data?
Hey, Jay, thanks for inviting me to join you. Looking forward to this. That is an interesting question. So I've been with SYKES about 8.5 years. This team has been around about 15 years. And I'm a little unique to SYKES in that I did not come from the contact center world. I was in advertising and marketing for 20 years. I don't look at myself as being in the data business. I'm in the storytelling business. Because it's almost like data can be almost a forensics exercise to understand the customer experience. And so data is the fuel, but the outcome is the story. What's the story of your customer experience? That's kind of how we ended up here.
Yeah, you know, it's I have made the statement throughout my career, no significant problem that I'd ever been challenged to fix in an operational perspective really got done without using the data that was available to me at the time. And you know, one of the things that I've contended with in my years, specifically in the time that I was knee deep in intelligent automation and RPA, was this idea that people want to jump quickly through the stages of the life cycle, including wanting to jump straight to artificial intelligence applications, so-called. Most people are talking about machine learning, in my experience, when they say AI. But the question that I always had, and one of the discoveries, I guess, that I had made when I first started toying with machine learning technologies long ago, was that my data wasn't as good as I thought it was.
Right.
Do we run into that a lot with clients? I mean, surely we run into some fairly consistent challenges when we take on a new client and we start doing stuff with their data.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because, you know, we talked about data tells a story, but it's, you know, calibrated data sets that are aligned and communicate with each other. That's the story. And so when you look at just the contact center world in general and interactions, data is captured in what I'll call work streams. So think about a cable provider. Your internet goes down. You try and fix it. That's a work stream. You make a phone call. That's a work stream. You know, the agent types something into the CRM. That's a work stream. Then a truck roll comes to your house. It's a work stream. There's data associated with all those things, and those work streams don't talk to each other. Yeah. So everybody's got a mountains of data, a mountain range. But how do you make them all, you know, connect? And you and I have talked before. That's a huge problem. Is that it's not just having the data, but it's having calibrated data sets where we're using like definitions, and everything's categorized correctly, so you can then organize it to tell that story. That's the biggest problem. Is the data doesn't talk. Data streams don't talk to each other.
Yeah, you know, there's business. People have been enamored by the idea of big data, and I've kind of gotten to the stage where I've said, "So you got big data, so what?" Right? Right. Everybody's got big data right now. To your point, the question is it collaborative in a way that can actually lead you to some insights? When we go into an engagement, you know, we start with a set of prerequisites of things that we have to have, you know, and maybe there are, you know, volume issues on what you need to get, or there may be data cleanliness issues that have to be contended with. How do we kind of step through a process when we start working with someone's data? Surely getting to it can sometimes be a problem, right?
Right, and you're familiar with this, but I'll kind of outline what a project looks like. You know, we'll go in and we'll observe and listen to maybe 200-300 recorded phone calls, statistically relevant random sample within a month, or we'll look at 25 to 50 screens, also statistically valid and relevant within a month. And what's interesting about this is we go in with a pre-work list where I want to look at all the stuff you're already looking at. So I want to know account metrics. I want to know just everything related to handle time and performance, and how are we paid? How are the agents paid? Just everything that's normally looked at. I get familiar with it, then we set it aside. And then the analysts go in and observe and listen to the calls because, you know, I think I told you this once. This is how, when I introduce myself to clients, I talk about structured versus unstructured data. So you've got structured data traditionally is a spreadsheet, and then unstructured data would be some kind of a ones and zeros set of numbers. Well, technically, then you get a little level deeper. The spreadsheet may be structured, but it may not be labeled. It may not be calibrated. But what's cool about our work is a phone call is nothing but an unstructured data set. And all you're trying to do is put structure around it, just like when you observe automation opportunities on the screen. That video is technically an unstructured data set. Somebody's got to label it. And so that's kind of how we introduce ourselves and how we get into a project is what's the known, and then let's go observe the unknown.